Here we are at the home of Serina Wells. Her home is actually doubling as her flower farm. Serina, show it. I'm going to back up so everybody can see your greenhouse.
A little propagation greenhouse. I have to say, if you're interested, this is one from Harbor Freight, and it's pretty inexpensive. If you can put the labor in, it's a good one to start with. So come on in and you can see what I got going on. So this is my propagation house. I'm an overwintering house. Not a ton of stuff going on in here, but starting some cool season annuals. Just playing with some techniques. But yeah, I make plants all the time. I take cuttings. I can't help myself. This is part of the disease that is plant hoarding, right? we all understand this. Yeah. I've got some eucalyptus that I started from seed early in January. And I've got some bigger trees out there that I can show you. But just cuttings and making new plants and tomatoes that never get planted. And so, but they're growing. But one thing I want to show you is what I use to start on my seeds is a soil block. So it's a special mix. And it's 3/4 inch little blocks, and you charge it with soil, and you put it on a tray like a cafeteria tray, and then you bottom water them. You put your seeds in there, and it works great because it's charged with some natural fertilizers. I grow everything organically, and so I don't use any chemicals or pesticides or any of that kind of stuff if I can help it. Pretty much not. I mean, I use cultural practices to control everything, or I just let it go. But so soil blocking is the first year that I've done that. I'm officially a fan. So
I've noticed on the British TV shows that's what they use.
They're big in that. So if you're interested in doing that, I'd love to do a workshop and teach everybody how to the ins and outs of soil blocking and other seed starting. So I use other methods too, but I really like that. So. Let's see. It was other overwintered things, and just not much to show. But this guy's come in really handy, and I've had him for the first year. I start everything in starting in January. I'll start some stuff in December under grow lights and heat mats in the house, and then they start to come out here. It depends on the plant too, because stuff that's really cold hardy, it does just fine out here. And then I have a little space heater that I keep to really just kind of knock off the chill and keep it just right at 30. But we were lucky last year, but who knows? So it's kind of a transition time right now. So I'm in the process of doing the gray weed eviction and starting to flip some beds. But I do have some extensive perennial gardens, and this is what I call my formal garden. This is about as formal as it gets, people. I just don't have the time, and since I have, this is my second commercial cut growing season, and so the perennial gardens here, and then I have a long row that's a lot of shade. It's all shade, and has not been touched this whole season. So thanks to COVID and just pumping out a lot of seedlings. I started probably thousands of seedlings this spring, and I should have kept count. But putting all that stuff in the ground was a challenge during that time period, March through April. So my pondless water feature, I finally did a little bit what would be considered maybe major surgery on this because the pump wasn't working well and there was algae buildup. So I just kind of broke it all down, rebuilt it. But the wildlife really appreciates this, including the cats and my resident frog. Oh, we didn't show the resident frog. I have a frog that lives in my greenhouse who eats my mosquitoes. So when you have a natural ecosystem, you have friends to come and help you out. So I've got a frog who eats the mosquitoes. I found a black snake in there. Hopefully he won't eat my frog. But I have lots of praying mantis. We found a couple of orb weavers, Vicki and I, as we did a first round around the garden. So we'll show you those. But those guys are actively working to contain any problems. But so I have a mix of plants, but I don't have more than 200 plants of one type in a space, and so I don't have an environment that is kind of like a monocrop. When you have a monocrop, you start to really have problems. So diversity in crops really is beneficial. So I'm going to have a whole crop of ornamental kale this year, and I'm doing some tests out on those, so I'll use those in the growing season. So I'm a farmer florist, and so I grow all these flowers, and I sell to florists and to end consumers like you all, but I also do events like weddings, and so in December, There, it's after the killing frost. So kale is a cool season vegetable, and also those will be white flowered, and so good for your December bride. So I'm kind of excited about that. First time that I'm going to be growing that as a whole crop. I usually grow stuff just as a trial, and then if I'm good at it or if it's conducive to this climate, then I'll do a larger crop. So anything to say? You can't really see anything in a formal garden. Why don't you spin them around, Vicki, and let them look at the little bit of the view. Over the arbor there is a new dawn rose, and that's really pretty. Up one's on what's on our right side, and up on the left side is a climbing hydrangea that's really never done very much.
I never have.
Yeah, and it's over 5 years old, so who knows? Maybe one day he'll just take off. But it is a lot of shade right here, and it gets a little bit of a spot of sun in the middle of the day, but for not very long. But this year, I just felt the need to put in more bed space. So I added a 4-foot swath all the way on the outside of this long skinny bed. So you can kind of see where the yellow, I'm not even sure what that is, some kind of daisy. But all this is all brand new, this 4-foot wide area. Can you tell this is brand new this season? Not really. So sedum, we got lavender in here. We've got this, it's not penstemon. It's that fountain grass that's raised by master gardeners. I got 2 of those from our plant sale.
What's the deal with the bag over the rose?
I'm so glad you asked, because you'll see that a lot. So this is a David Austin rose, Jubilee celebration, I believe. And so when the Japanese beetles come in, I absolutely have to do that, because I will not get one rose. The rose is almost like a trap plant, and they will just eat it. They'll eat it before it even starts to bloom. They'll eat it in a bud. I'll come out one day and there will be no roses. And so we're starting to get a flush, and that bag's been on there for quite a while, because I knew that it would probably just pop all of a sudden. So there's 3 of those Jubilee celebration, and that has been a really good one. And if you are big,
they're my favorite flower, favorite rose, favorite everything.
Yeah, David Austin's are really good. They're very low maintenance. I'm a lazy gardener. I know that sounds funny, but I'm not going to spray, and also organic. So I'm not going to spray my roses. I do try to fertilize them and baby them, but I don't baby them a lot. I make sure that they get water, and that might be the extent of it. But, so I transferred this. This is Walker's Low Catmint. I transferred him from what used to be the front of the bed, and can you tell it's happy?
Oh, it looks very happy.
It is like quadrupled in size. And this is not the first year I've had this plant. It's been in there for a long time, but he was very happy. So I till in lots of compost. I use spent mushroom substrate, mushroom compost. I get it from Barky Beaver. You can get it also at Grower Solution, and I get it by 5 yards at a time. Yeah, and I probably should just order a dump truck from Monterey Mushrooms. Actually, is where it comes from. You can get it at Barky Beavers, but it's good stuff. So I till that in, and I also make my own compost, and maybe we can go take a visit and see if we can find some giant worms. I make some mean compost, but I don't make enough to incorporate into new beds. I use it as top dressing. And you can see that what I use, so I use compost as a mulch, and I try to put in, at least 3 inches is going to control weeds, and it has just spent itself. And so another application, you could go in and add another inch prior to now, so that you don't really have that, dry. But you can see I till a whole bunch of this up, and I move some grass out of this ditch. But so I've weeded it, and it's ready to be top dressed with compost. So I had some pansies in here, and they died out. I use pansies as an edible crop. You wanna keep going?
Just do the rest of this.
Okay. Also pineapple sage, also from our plant sale this year, and also a little happy in this location.
Much happier than mine. Mine did well, I thought, until I saw yours.
Yeah, you all let me know if those of you that purchased yours from Master Gardeners this year, did yours get this big? And I was also surprised that it's not that kind of chartreuse green color, but it has just started blooming. But it is gorgeous. I love it. Smells so good. I wish y'all could smell it. So between the Walker's Low Catmint and this is lots of good smells.